Welcome to session 117, Thriving in an Academic Statistical Consulting Center. Academic statistical consulting centers collaborate and provide statistical support to faculty and graduate students for their research projects. The speakers of this session are statisticians at the Statistical Consulting Center at Michigan State University, CSTAT. CSTAT employs both full-time PhD consultants and graduate students, handling about 350 to 400 projects a year. Each speaker in this session presents different aspects to help them and their collaborators thrive in this environment. Please put any questions into the Q&A. The speakers can answer directly, or we have some time at the end for discussion. I would like to invite Wenju and Ma to give the first presentation.
Okay. Can everybody hear me all right?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I'll get started. Hello, distinguished statisticians. My name is Wenjuan. It's my pleasure to talk about our project database. We have already heard about something about the statistical consulting in industry. I want to talk a little bit about statistical consulting in academia. So first, I want to talk a little bit about our daily challenges. Let me introduce you to Kim. Kim is a brilliant and dedicated statistical consultant at the Statistical Consulting Center. This morning, Kim opens her email and finds several project assignments. The reason for this sudden influx of work is that because the students who originally managed those projects are graduating. So Kim spends the first 2 hours of the day not doing statistics, but being a detective. She hunts through her own email, the old shared drive folder, and team messaging platform for the final dataset and the R script. She finds that the final version of the script and the dataset obviously, Kim's expertise is being wasted on administrative archaeology. The R script Kim finds runs. The note of the R script says the graduate student tried 3 different solutions, but only the first solution was in the script. The other 2 were in physical notes. Kim now facing a dilemma. Either dig out the physical notes and evaluate all the solutions again, or send the first solution to the client. As she struggles, Kim remembers that another consultant had tried 3 similar analysis methods for another project last year. She knows that his solution could save her hours, but the consultant is on vacation. Kim cannot quickly locate the files. By lunchtime, Kim is frustrated and behind schedule. Now let's talk a little bit about our solution. I think Kim's story is a familiar story to many of us. Those are kind of like daily challenges that we face. Seems to be minor daily frustrations, but they are actually the symptoms of the fundamental tensions in our workflow. Many things demand our attentions at the same time, and we are expected to wear multiple hats: statistician, project manager, educator, etc. And at the end of the year, we all wish that we remember every project we have been worked on. Those tensions create stress, limit our impact, and are the very problems we are determined to solve. Our solution, a custom-built project database. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the origin story of our database. Before we built the database, our process was fragmented and manual. Consultants record data in Excel, and our office manager was burdened with transferring those files into a Access database. We use the database to run essential queries, which is a significant drain on our time and resources. We transfer this process by building a customized project database. This is a all-in-one system that integrates direct data input and the centralized storage and a powerful reporting engine. It frees our teams to focus on more important work. Let me talk a little bit about the structure and the function of the database. So there are three major components in our database. At the core, of course, that is the database. It stores the information about all our projects. Consultants have access to the interface, which is the second component of our project database, through which we can input the information about each project or case. And we also have access to a report engine. Different users can run different reports. For example, our administrator can run report of all the projects. Oftentimes, our consultants run projects of their own or several similar projects. Now it's a new day for Kim. When Kim gets a new assignment, she opens the database and finds the information about the project, and she can add new information such as the date to check in with the client, and also she can add meeting notes. She can easily find the information input by previous consultant if the project is a transfer, and she can also check the notes of similar projects. This way, she basically picking her colleague's brain indirectly. We also have some future vision for our database. In summary, our vision for the database is that we want to transform it from a system of storage into a system of intelligence, which can actively power our consultant. There are 3 labs we are planning in our head right now. First, we want to connect context with a large language model. We want to take advantage of large language model by connecting it with our project database and connecting information sources beyond the database. For example, we want to connect our database through LM with email. So the LM can scan project-related emails, of course, with permission, to draft a client communication summary, extract some key information, like what's the key request of the clients, and what are the deadline, and or maybe there's something changing in the deadline we also want to know. We also want the large language model to connect with our calendar, so the system will understand the project timeline. Of course, the documents and the code can be accessed and processed by large language model too. So things like proposals, meeting notes, those can enrich our knowledge. The second vision is that we want to use LM to mining for the patterns and provide some foresight. For example, by looking at past projects, the system can identify some patterns. For example, if we see a tag like a small sample size for a new project or categorical outcome, it can provide us some suggestions for analysis method. Of course, this is not a replacement of our consultants' work, but I think sometimes it can provide different perspectives. for as a reference for the consultant. Also, we are hoping that the new system can help us to identify some anomaly or some efficiency alerts. We want to look into the timeline of the projects and point out some potential risks. We can also find some trends for the leadership. As I mentioned, it can find that in the past 2 years, like their machine learning method has been increasingly asked for. The third vision is that we want to use the system to break silo of individual experience. Many times we all work in our different silos, don't have much time to communicate. So the database can be hopefully to merge our knowledge and we can take advantage of. For example, we can have a dynamic expertise profile. In the past, we report our expertise in a form and submit to our leadership. But if we use the database, we can build a live expertise profile, which is based on the past project the consultant work on, and also maybe some notes they are written. This can be updated live. And we also want to have a intelligent knowledge retrieval capability. With the help of this function, consultant can retrieve information about similar projects. Like I mentioned about like I mentioned about Kim, then with this function, she doesn't have to memorize that there was a project, so she can just find. And she doesn't require direct help from her colleagues. And we also hoping that this can help us to automate part of the training. For example, the new consultants can interview the database and get a synthetic answer drawing from the collective work of the entire team. And that's all I want to talk about today. Thank you for listening, and I'm happy to answer questions.
Thank you so much, Wenjuan. If anybody has questions, please put this in the Q&A. You can also put this in the Q&A throughout the session for the next talks, and she can look at it and address it, or we'll discuss it at the end. If there are no urgent questions, I will move to the next speaker, which is actually myself. So let me share my screen. Are you able to see the presenter slides?
No, we see the slide preview with your notes as well.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Our statistical consulting involves a number of tasks, such as study design, statistical methods, conducting statistical analysis, data management, presentation and interpretation of results, collaborating on manuscripts and grants. It's a lot of varied tasks. The question is, can we make it go well for all many different kinds of types of clients and collaborators and statisticians also? Accessibility means refers to that there's a large variation in cognitive, emotional, and social capacities. This includes lifelong conditions or temporary disabilities. For example, temporary disabilities include hearing loss due to an ear infection, eye strain from extended screen time, fatigue after illness, difficulty concentrating due to emotional challenges, or family obligations. All of this can affect everyone. There are different types of accessibility. Communication accessibility refers to being able to receive and understand information. Cognitive accessibility means it supports comprehension and processing of information. There are other types like physical accessibility and financial institutional accessibility, but in this presentation, I'm going to focus on the communication and cognitive accessibility. I would like to say that statistical practice already supports accessibility. We produce statistical reports, such as screen-readable documents. HTML format works really well. Some documents that are easy to navigate, that include text explanations to figures, include interactive figures. So our Studio and Quarto can help produce that. There's also a long tradition in statistical graphics to produce colorblind-friendly palettes. We can add contrasts and redundant cues such as lines, styles, marker symbols, and labels, and all of that supports accessibility. It is recommended to accompany figures with captions and text to describe the figures. So statisticians already do quite a bit to support accessibility. But this is a task-oriented practice, statistical practice. How about relationship-oriented? We work with many different types of clients and collaborators, and we adjust to individual needs, accommodating meeting schedule, offering different explanations already automatically. However, we're often not aware of challenges others may have. Here's a case study, an anxious client. This is a graduate student who came for help with her dissertation. She was unable to formulate a clear research question and had trouble understanding the structure of her data collection. Her anxiety manifested in being unfocused and stressed in meetings. So how did this go? The consultant found this disconcerting. The consultant asked open-ended questions to help her think critically about her project. The student found this frustrating. It's an issue with open-ended questions for neurodivergent persons. But what worked was providing calm interactions, letting her set the pace, nudging her during periods of idleness, and especially providing step-by-step guidance. And we also have to be aware it does take extra time. So that can be reasonably accommodated. That would be really, really helpful. Neurodiversity means we need to educate ourselves to help us be prepared for such cases, to be able to adjust our expectations or to set expectations. The National Library of Medicine defines neurodiversity as describing the idea that people experience and interact with the world around them in many ways, with no one right way of thinking, learning, and behaving, and differences are not deficits. When thinking about neurodiversity, autism or ADHD may immediately come to mind. However, there are many behaviors that contribute to the variation, such as giftedness or cultural diversity. Neurodiverse persons may employ so-called masking. This refers to concealing behavior to fit in and appear more neurotypical. Well, what can we do when we are more aware to help our collaborators? The accommodations are relatively simple. Whether we know about people's masking or not, we can make easy accommodations to benefit everyone. and may already do it, consciously or subconsciously. Our collaborators, for example, may prefer different meeting modalities, maybe online or in person. We can allow turning the Zoom video on or off as needed. Taking breaks during meetings helps with processing information. Some meetings may cover a lot of dense statistical information. It helps to provide different forms of communication, written, verbal, visual. We can ask our collaborators for their preferences. Like, would you like us to write the summary of our meeting? Would you like to prefer it in bullet points? Would you like to think about it yourself before coming back? All these are possibilities. It also helps to provide different types of explanations. For example, giving an overview or examining information in great detail. It also helps to have explicit deadlines to move a project forward. But we may need to be flexible with these deadlines and have regular check-ins to keep things on track. Sensory-friendly spaces can be as simple as making sure the brightness of lighting can be adjusted to a comfortable level. Providing fidget toys, as it's done in some conferences already, can welcome clients and collaborators and feel accepted. Now, clients coming to the Statistical Consulting Center may be neurodiverse, but statisticians working as consultants can also be neurodiverse. Now, the academic research environment, particularly in a quantitative field like statistics, demands deep focus, pattern recognition, and logical thinking. These are all common neurodivergent strengths. So being a statistical consultant is quite suitable for a neurodivergent consultant. But executive function can be challenging for neurodivergent individuals, including motivation, emotional regulation, organization, sustained effort, focus, and memory. That means a neurodivergent consultant working with a neurotypical client may experience negative perceptions. And on the other hand, supervisors may have unrealistic expectations or assumptions regarding work styles, timelines, schedules, productivity, or communications of neurodivergent consultants. That refers back to it helps to be educated about neurodivergence and the needs. Here are some challenges for neurodivergent consultants. Some are task-oriented, some are relationship-oriented. So large abstract goals, for example, writing a grant proposal, can be challenging with staying focused or avoiding to feel overwhelmed or postponing tasks. It needs to be broken into concrete, actionable tasks. And perhaps supervisors can help with that also. And there are challenges in reading and interpreting nonverbal cues, such as body language, facial expressions, tone of voice. Because neurodivergent individuals often have slower auditory processing. All this can result in missing details or can lead to misunderstandings in collaborative meetings, which could be avoided. A consultant can advocate for themselves by talking to their clients or supervisors about communication and work preferences to help set expectations and build trust. For example, I may need time to respond to questions as I like to reflect before answering, or I may need to turn off the camera in Zoom meetings so I can focus better, or I prefer short online meetings and follow up with comments or additional questions. All of this helps set expectations and helps to prepare the collaborators. Here's a case study of a neurodivergent consultant. During graduate school, the statisticians had often worked hard to mask any differences to her neurotypical peers, perceiving them as deficits. She didn't have a formal diagnosis. When starting the consultant job, she struggled with the transition from dissertation projects to juggling multiple concurrent projects with deadlines. And if the supervisors gave any feedback to help, that triggered anxiety because of feeling not doing well. So what were the adaptive work strategies that she adopted? One was to block time on calendar to respond to emails. Emails come in a lot and all the time, and needing updates on projects, so blocking time helps. Whenever she got into a hyper-focus mode and then getting overwhelmed with details, it helped to do scheduled check-ins to recalibrate the scope. Flexible work hours enabled her to align her task with natural productivity rhythms. So what can we do better in a statistical consulting environment or just any environment? And first and foremost, it is good to take the time and empathy to understand the needs, whether it's the clients or the consultants. Accommodations is not hard to do, as I showed in some of the examples, and everyone benefits. If you saw these strategies, well, I can benefit from that as much as anybody else, whether neurodivergence or not. One is educate statistical consultants and supervisors to increase the awareness of needs and the challenges, so we're not surprised and we know how to respond and be more empathetic. And in general, a respectful environment where differences are normalized and welcomed creates a sense of belonging for everyone, and that should be made clear to the whole team. So those are the main messages that I would like to bring across. We submitted a paper on this for statistical consulting, but it's still under review. I can only share that some of the feedback or some anonymous that we get fits right into this type of things. They like quick response and reliable follow-up from their consultants. Consultants had a friendly, respectful, professional demeanor. The consultants provided analysis results and helped interpret, explained the rationale behind analysis. Those are all good qualities, and it fits really well with accessibility. And most of all, I want to see that a comment where a client says, I felt more confident and capable after meeting with the consultant. And that should be good for everybody. With this, I would like to stop sharing, and I'm open to questions. If there are no questions, we are right on time to hand it over to Sichao Wang to talk about inclusive leadership.
Can you hear me clear? And see my slides?
Yes.
Great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Sichao Wang. This year marks my third year working at our consulting center, also known as CSTAT. Today in my talk, I'm very excited to share how we lead and thrive inside an academic consulting center. Specifically, how inclusive leadership and leadership teams, not the lone heroes, create trust, collaboration, and a real sense of ownership across consultants and also our collaborators. I'd like to start with this figure in a GSM conference paper back in 2015, as the figure outlines here. The paper argues that statisticians should evolve from just transactional consulting to true collaboration and all the way automatically to pursue a shared leadership. In the figure here, it puts the leadership at the very top of the 10 stepping stones after the consulting competence and the true collaboration. I want to highlight that as statisticians, we should keep leadership development front of mind, not just as a distant end state, but as a discipline we practice every day. You might be wondering what do I mean by inclusive leadership and leadership teams. We are not talking about just the mindset today, because there is a whole theory on inclusive leadership, and still no consensus even about the conceptualization of inclusive leadership. We are taking a more practical route today, making inclusive leadership real with the leadership teams model. So it is a leadership model we are experimenting with at CSTAT, which is a distributed team-based leadership model. In this model, the consultants can step into thematic team lead role, such as medicine science. The theme could be medicine science or social science or engineering, to better integrate the project across the consulting center. This way, it makes sure that everyone on the team has a clear path to leadership and to developing their full potential, which makes the inclusion isn't just being invited to the meetings. It also means having access to the decision-making roles and the support to succeed in them. Let's see how it works. Think of this slide as an operating map. At the very top, the director sets the mission and strategy for the entire center, defines our standards, and also makes staffing decisions, and handles the tough escalation. In addition to this more traditional leader role, we added another layer, which are the thematic team leads. Each thematic team lead is like a liaison to a college or domain, or generally the stakeholders. Here I see that is our sponsor college or department. They can help to make connection between the college and center, perform periodic checking to make sure the project on track, and also help the director to flag any risk or needed change or new opportunities. All thematic team leads draw on one shared consultant pool, including themselves. So for any specific project, we can assemble the right mix of people and expertise. Very importantly, this added layer, which are the thematic team leads, also multiplies the communication. Internally, we get more touch points. Therefore, issues and ideas can move very quickly among the consultant and director. Externally, the college also have a named point of contact, which makes the collaboration smoother and communication smoother. Take our CSTAT as an example. We have 6 full-time statisticians, and all of us can take thematic team lead role based on our skill set and interest. In this model, we work super hard not to drift into isolated silos. By relying on a few very simple and consistent routines. First, our weekly whole group meeting is the hub where we can share quick updates, discuss complex or tough cases, and dig into method and research practice topics together. Second, the case assignment is interest and skills driven. That means the thematic team leads and consultants can cross into other themes when they face. This way, it strengthens the collaboration within and also makes the work more rewarding because we were working as a team. Third, every month, we thematic team leads meet with the director and gave a higher level updates by the theme or by the college at CSTAS. In this way, we plan ahead, for example, the workload, the capacity, or emerging new opportunities. Relying on these routines keep us more coordinated, flexible, and most very importantly, connected. So expertise can flow where it's needed instead of getting trapped in silos. Why we implementing or deploying this leadership model? Since we deploy this model at CSTAS, we've seen firsthand that this leadership model fosters trust, not only outside of the center with the collaborators, but also within the center with our colleagues. With the collaborators outside the center, serving as thematic team leads pushes us to learn each colleague's priorities, timelines, and even the funding rhythm. For example, the college or the theme I help a lot is veterinary medicine. One priority they have is to build graduate student research skills, and they also set the intramural funding for student research projects. Because I know when these fundings open and close, I can advocate early for our support and plan the capacity for the surge of the project at specific time of year based on the funding range. And of course, with the deep understanding of the research, we can come up with even better design and better analysis plan, such as the researchers I help with doing animal clinical research. Oftentimes, they have the limitation of small sample size. Then it is very important or critical to have the design to use the sample more efficiently, such as the crossover design. And all the practical consideration with the crossover design, I can go over with the researchers before the startup date. This makes sure we not put us in the spot that wasting the entire study just because the poor study design. And as liaisons, we become reliable points of contact. Knowing the people and let the people know us better, also creating the trust that people know who to reach and expect prompt responses. Because the relationship is getting stronger, the collaborators are more comfortable to share their timely feedbacks, such as what is the real reason to blocking the study progress. And we can sit together to come up with the solution to solve the problem together. As a thematic team lead, we know our team better. As CSTAS, we maintain the skills and the interest inventory for all the consultants. This way, we can use the talent very efficiently. Make sure the right consultant on the right project at the right time by balance the caseload for each consultant. All in all, this leads to a better science and also better experiences for everyone on the project and on the team. As statisticians, the collaboration is really our bread and butter. And as a thematic team leads, we don't wait for the request. We proactively seeking for the collaborations, such as we meet the new faculty and incoming cohorts early to introduce what we do and spark the ideas. By getting to know the people and their research, we can surface a latent demand, which are the needs that wouldn't show up if we just waited for the emails for the request. We keep a very clear door with weekly office hours, so the access is super simple. If someone has a rough research idea, they can always just drop by to brainstorm and leave with some concrete next steps. A lot of folks come to my office hour for such as sample size planning, and often they don't even know what they really need for that task. In that case, I can quickly walk through a few options with them to get the information they need for the sample set planning. As a liaison or ambassador of the center, we show up at the college mixer and research events to understand the domain and evaluate opportunity from statistical lines. I often went to the annual research day in the College of Veterinary Medicine and talk with the presenters and make the notes of what statistical method they often use or what could be improved. Finally, like I mentioned earlier, that since we know the college better and we can and know what they really need, we can customer a workshop just to the college. One time I also gave a workshop on core statistic concept to help the veterinary medicine student to prepare for their board exam so they can see the immediate and practical value. And when you are visible, serendipity happens. There was one incoming faculty hadn't even started his position officially at MSU, but reached out to me, and I ended up supporting two his proposals before even day one. Last but not least, our leadership team's model gives the people a real sense of ownership, which is very critical for the performance of the consultants. Since the accountability is shared and transparent, it promotes thematic teammates to contribute at a higher level, not just at the project level, but also organization level, such as what skills are needed to develop more for the center. Recently, at CSTAS, we talked about AI a lot, what we can do to better prepare for the incoming use of AI in research. All this gave us long-term gains. We see the compounding effect, the higher satisfaction of clients because of the consistent high-quality deliverable to enhance their research or even expand their research, and higher satisfaction of consultants because they know they have a leader role within the center and the say in the center, in how the center evolves. This brings the greater success of the entire center. And by introducing the thematic team leads, we embrace the diversity of thinking and the diversity of leadership style, because each of us are unique human beings and we can all contribute uniquely as leaders. And I'll end with this. I want to say that leadership takes a lot of practice, not just the mindset. Providing a model of structure like this to help statisticians, especially the junior ones, to practice leadership skills every day will tremendously help them to thrive in their environment. Thank you all for listening. And here is CSTAT paper on developing the partnership for academic data science consulting and collaboration units. I highly recommend it. If anyone interested in this topic, Consulting Center should read this paper. And I share the QR code here. And I guess I have 1 minute to take any question. If you have like a burning question right now, I can take the question at the end of the entire section.
Thank you so much, Sichao. I really, really like it that junior statisticians will get involved into leadership right up front to develop their skills. Yeah, please put in questions in the Q&A. We can answer. We have another minute for a question that was to me. What if you have two staff members on opposite need sides? One thrives in hyperactive, chaotic, organic, fast-paced meeting environment, and the other needs a chaos-free, slow-paced meeting environment. It's not a problem. I find people are very accepting as long as you are clear about expectations, adjusting your own expectations and setting expectations. So what is acceptable, what is not acceptable. So you can be in a group meeting and be very clear of the needs, and if the leaders in that group say this is totally fine and okay, I find the whole team goes along with it. And for individual collaborators, we can adjust, but to match different personality styles as well as skills. But it hasn't been an issue of needing to switch. So with that, I would like to invite Guanqi. Guanqi is the graduate student and can give us her perspective in statistical consulting.
Hi everyone, can you see my slides now?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Marianne, for introducing me. So, my name is Guanqi. I'm a research student, research assistant in the Center for Statistical Training and Consulting at MSU. Today, my topic is thriving in the consulting world as a graduate student. So, what are the responsibilities as a graduate student consultant? First of all, when clients reach out to the consulting center with a case, we start the communication by email and an initial meeting to understand their research project, including study design, their research goals, and what kind of data they may have. Then we need to construct a reasonable statistical analysis plan targeting their research questions. Then, during this process, the most important things is to help the client understand the statistical tools and methods that are most appropriate for their specific research questions. And at the end, we would like to provide the clients with an interpretable and reproducible results. So, what are the challenges we may face as a graduate student consultant? On top of my head, the communication challenge. Many of our clients who came to us have limited background in statistics, so we need to explain the technical details to them with simple words. It's very useful to explain with examples using the contact information within their own disciplines and fields. Second is time management. We need to balance between our own research work and the consulting work. Usually, there are multiple projects going on at the same time. Thirdly, is understand the client's expectations. They may have different expectations. Are they looking for an initial data analysis plan or trying to conduct power analysis to determine their sample size and doing a preliminary data analysis, or would they like to work with the overall data analysis? And sometimes our client is a faculty in the university, so as a graduate student, we need to build up our confidence to work with them. And fifth is always being prepared to learn new things. Then I will talk about what can we do to overcome these challenges. First of all is active listening. Always prepare to ask questions to make sure we understand the client's projects thoroughly. Second is simplifying the explanations without losing rigor. And third is time management. We need to set priorities and boundaries. Most of our clients came to us with a project deadline, so we can prepare our tasks and timeline according to that deadline. The fourth is to leverage the mentorship from our senior consultants and colleagues. Also, collaborating with our peers for feedback and support. And last but not least is we need to continuously learning the technical and soft skills. So here are some of my personal experience. When clients came to us, we can ask questions when they are not quite sure what information they can provide to us. For example, do you think there would be any covariates that is important to include in the model? The clients may have a large data set with a lot of predictors, but some of them they may not need to include in the model, but some of them are very important or of their interest. We need to understand which predictors they would like to use and what is your main goal. So Is the main goal to compare the difference between pre and post intervention, or estimate the effect size of the predictor? If the client came to us with a power analysis problem, it's the question we need to ask. And last is about the data set. For example, I noticed there are some missing values in the data set. Are they truly missing, or do the client remove them just because they think the data would be outliers or errors? And the second case is about simplifying explanations regarding to the model options with respect to the category of response variables. This is an example from my working hours. So the client came to me with a question about which model to use. She does not fully understand the difference between logistic and Poisson regression. You just need to explain to them that logistic regression needs the binary response variable, which means usually coded as 0 or 1. And Poisson regression model needs your response variable to be a count data in a category. So thankfully, our consulting center provides us with a supportive environment. We have weekly staff meetings where we can brainstorm on very difficult topics and share our thoughts on that. And we can also learn from senior specialists. There are multiple senior specialists like Dr. Sichuan Wang and Dr. Wenjuan Ma here, and they are always willing to help us. And third is our consulting center provides some seminars, workshops. Those are always sources to learn new methods and softwares. So finally, there are a lot we can benefit from being a graduate student consultant in a consulting center. I can expose to diverse fields and real-world problems, and I can practice what I learned from class with real-world data from multiple disciplines. I can strengthen my communication and collaboration skills. And last but not least, I could get the chance to be involved as co-authors, and this experience can also build up my resume. So here is a paper published by our consulting center with a perspective of a graduate students. So if you're interested, you can check it out. That's all I have for today. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Guanxi. It's always a pleasure to get graduate student experience also. Now we have a few minutes for questions. You've heard a number of different kinds of perspectives in statistical consulting, whether it was from the operations database, a very sophisticated operations database with a great vision for the future using large language models, to leadership from junior statisticians onwards, the graduate student's perspective, and accessibility for both clients as well as the consultants. You're also welcome to contact me anytime if you have further questions. It's my last name, Huebner, at msu.edu. And I'm sure the other speakers I can put you in contact if you have questions for them too.
Oh, Marianne, there's one question from Cynthia in the chat.
What is the possibility of career growth in an academic consulting organization? This is an excellent question. In fact, actually, there is a whole, the Wiley online stat journal has a special issue, equitable models for Statistical Consulting Center, that talks a little bit about this. For Michigan State University, the statistical consulting career pathway mirrors that of tenure track faculty. So it's not tenure track, but it mirrors the same pathway of the 3-year, 6-year review, and then a more permanent type of position. And it's important for all the consulting centers to integrate professional development. So you have time for professional development for the statisticians. We know we all need to learn more about AI and statistics. So whatever comes to the statistical consulting center, we need to be ready. Nothing is stays as what we learned in our statistics courses. Excellent question. Thank you. Do you need to have a PhD to work on? Well, currently the statisticians are all PhDs. We also had a master's one, but that's more rare and was not permanent. And the graduate students do not have a PhD, but they're PhD students. The career path for staff is a separate one. So we have some staff, but we are under the Office of Research and Innovation, so under the Office of Research, as many universities have. And so the staff have like a separate type of path that is fixed, that's not related to what the consulting center can do. I'm sorry, I'm calling this a support staff, so it may not be clear. I call the statisticians a separate group, but the support staff are, say, the fiscal officers or so. But the statisticians are all on a career path parallel to a tenure track faculty, except that they don't have tenure. But Michigan State University has a special name. It's called research specialist or teaching specialist if it's in departments, but that might not be known in other universities. Staff statisticians, right? Yeah, that's what I tried to say. Thank you, Stacy. Yeah, the staff statisticians are the research specialists, and they have this career path that's parallel to the tenure track. So a 3-year review, a 6-year review, and after the 6th year, it's more permanent, although it's not tenured, and they can also become a senior statistician. Thank you. Excellent questions. I must say accessibility has been a new topic for me as a supervisor, just coming across different examples. And I knew nothing about it, and I can only recommend to educate yourself about it. You'll understand yourself and your collaborators much, much better. So there's one more question about centralized versus decentralized. The statistics is fragmented. The statistical consulting is fragmented. So we have the central group, but that doesn't prevent other colleges, departments to hire their own person. I work really hard on partnerships and educating across the university how beneficial it is to be actually in such a group, to be able to learn leadership, to be able to share knowledge, and it's easier to acquire new skills. So it was never a reorganization. It is still fragmented. There are lots of different silos.
It often gives.
Pardon? Yeah, I'd be happy to answer any more questions. So you just email me, my last name @msu.edu. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for letting us speak at the IDWSDS. We're really pleased to speak in this format.